Okay, so today we are talking about your World War I test. Have your study guides out, and we're going to just talk about everything that's on the test to make sure that you have everything since I won't be here on Wednesday. So the first topic is going to be the Spanish-American War. Make sure you review the Spanish-American War. I know it was on the last test, but it's also going to be on this test, and there's going to be several questions about it on this test. Remember, the Spanish-American War was in 1898. It wasn't a very long war, and it helped the U.S. onto the world stage and become a world power. There were many causes of the Spanish-American War. We were looking for a way to get on the world stage, and the Cuban Rebellion kind of gave us that push. We were interested in the Cuban Rebellion against Spain because Cuba is only 90 miles off the coast of Florida, so it was really close to the United States, and we didn't want that fight to come onto U.S. mainland, so we took great interest into the Cuban Rebellion. A couple of the other causes were yellow journalism, and the main cause was when the USS Maine blew up on the coast of Havana, Cuba. We automatically assumed that it was the Spanish that blew up the ship, and we used that as the declaration of war. Remember, it was a two-front war. We fought the Spanish in the Caribbean, where Cuba is, and also in the Pacific, where they had land. We used a special cavalry unit called the Rough Riders to help liberate Cuba, and there was a very special person in that unit named Theodore Roosevelt, who was very outspoken after the USS Maine blew up that we needed to go to war with Spain. Some of the effects is the U.S., of course, it becomes a world power. We liberate Cuba, and we gain the territories of Guam, the Philippines, and Puerto Rico. And remember that the Philippines will get their independence from us later on. Once the Spanish-American War is over, we are a country on the world stage. The Spanish-American War, of course, ended in 1898, and between 1898 and 1914, Europe was going through many changes, and we have the outbreak of World War I in 1914. These are the main causes of World War I, and remember, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand is what started the war. It was the spark that started everything up into an uproar. The U.S. will remain neutral. That means we stay out of war until 1917. So these causes right here is why Europe got involved in World War I. In 1917, the U.S. gets involved in World War I because of unrestricted submarine warfare. Germany was using a new technique called unrestricted submarine warfare to shoot down ships, and they would not give warning, and it would be military ships and passenger ships, and this was actually breaking international law. They have to give warning, and you're not supposed to shoot down civilians. So unrestricted submarine warfare is the reason the U.S. gets involved in World War I. There were many ways. We did try to stay out of the war, with the Sussex Pledge or the Sussex Pledge, and that was where Germany agreed that they would not shoot down any ships without warning. And then we intercept the Zimmerman telegram, and they continue to do unrestricted submarine warfare, and so we end up declaring war, and then they declare war on us. So the main reason the U.S. got involved in World War I is unrestricted submarine warfare. People you need to know of World War I: Alvin York, he was a Medal of Honor recipient. He also fought in the Battle of the Argonne Forest, and he is the most decorated soldier of World War I. J.J. Pershing is the leader of all American Expeditionary Forces. And he also fought in the Spanish-American War, and he was a West Point graduate. Woodrow Wilson, of course, is your president during World War I for the United States, and Alfred Mahan was a senator who was pro-U.S. Navy, and he was a proponent of a strong Navy. The Battle of the Argonne Forest is the battle you need to know for the test. Remember, there were lots of battles during World War I, but this one is the one that you need to know for the test. It was U.S. forces led by J.J. Pershing, and it's the beginning of the end. The U.S. broke through German defensive lines and opens up the Western Front so that Allied forces could get into Germany. And this will be in September, and we know that the war ends November 11th, so beginning of the end. Technology of World War I. Most countries went to war on horseback for World War I, and during the war we have leaps and bounds of great technology come out. We have the first use of airplanes during warfare. We have tanks. We have machine guns, which were used in trench warfare. We have mobile x-ray machines. We just have a whole slew of technology during World War I. The Treaty of Versailles is the treaty that ends World War I. There were actually two theories on how to end the war. Woodrow Wilson wanted a peaceful ending where no one was to blame and everybody just took blame, took equal blame, and we were trying to fix the problems that caused the war, such as secret treaties, restricted trade on seas, and he included the League of Nations, which was he had the 14 points, which included the League of Nations, and the League of Nations was a community of countries that would come together to kind of police the world to make sure war didn't break out like this again. The other theory was to blame Germany. All the winning countries just wanted to blame Germany. They felt that Germany was to blame for the whole war, and if Germany wouldn't have got involved, then this war would have never happened, and that was the one that they went with. In the Treaty of Versailles, the only point that they took from the 14 points of Wilson was the League of Nations, which ironically will be the reason that the U.S. does not sign the Treaty of Versailles. Congress did not want to sign the Treaty of Versailles because the League of Nations, they felt that it took their power to declare war out of their hands. And the Treaty of Versailles, because of all the blame that was put on Germany, will actually be a cause of World War II. Some of the things that Germany had to agree to in the Treaty of Versailles is that they were going to give up some land, they had to demilitarize the Rhineland, and they had to pay, most importantly, they had to pay $33 billion in reparations. And reparations are damage payments in a war. So Germany took a big hit with the Treaty of Versailles. Remember that the U.S. does not ratify it because of the League of Nations. Congress thought that it took their power of declaring war away. So the U.S. will not ratify the Treaty of Versailles. They will make separate treaties with all the other countries. And then we're to the effects of World War I. So the last thing we're going to talk about are the effects of World War I. We're going to mostly talk about the effects on the U.S. because we are in U.S. history, so that's what we're more concerned about. The effects of World War I economically on the U.S. is that the U.S. would go through a time period of adjustment. We will have high inflation and mass demand, and we will see some strikes in the industry fields. But we will eventually rebound and get everything in order, and our economy will actually begin to boom, and it will lead us into the Roaring '20s. A lot of that boom is because in Europe, economically, they are devastated from World War I, and they withstood 4 years of a long war with gunfire and bombs and whatnot, so their industries are mostly destroyed. Politically, we are going to see in the U.S. the end of progressivism, and women's roles will change because of how they helped in World War I. We will get the right to vote, and you will start seeing selective service or a draft. The draft will also be instituted in World War II all the way through Vietnam. Vietnam is the last time the U.S. has a draft. In Europe, politically, you're going to start seeing a rise in dictators, and that's where we're going to start seeing the leaders of World War II. And that's all I have. If you still have questions after watching the video, feel free to come by and see me. I have bus duty in the morning, so I will be out in the bus loop. So if you have any other questions, come and see me. Thanks so much. Have a great day.